Good morning. So this is my second time recording this because the first time, I guess, Snagit didn't want to record the audio. So, I just wanted to check in with you guys. I posted a couple things online letting you know that I was starting back up on the project. I posted a few polls asking, what I should focus on and all that stuff, and just a couple statements saying that, it's going to take me a little time to kind of reacquaint myself with my own code. Having not been in it for like 6 months, it is kind of hard to pick up where I left off with couple 100,000 lines of code, trying to remember what everything was and what state everything was left in. But I put up a poll because I wanted to ask what I should be focusing on primarily, because I want to start, instead of my normal scattergun approach, I want to kind of focus on an area, polish it off, and then move on. The responses I got from that were pretty straightforward. You guys wanted me to focus on the game and app detection to start off with. And it's something that IM has had in the past with varying degrees of success. We used to have it where it was pretty plain and it wouldn't detect a lot of the apps, especially with Windows 10 coming out with these universal apps. It really threw a wrench into things. We also had it where it was using an older game database, GamesDB, and that was rubbish. That site crashed all the time and it caused issues within InputMapper. So, but IM 1.7 has completely redone this, along with everything else. It's a complete ground up rewrite. So, with that in mind, the game detection, app detection, stuff like that was something that I was previously thinking about, and obviously now with the return of this vote, am focused on again right now. What we have right now is, let me switch over here. So it can detect applications pretty well. That's easy enough to do. The hard part is these universal apps that like to do things inside a shell. That, like a shared executable. Every one of these runs these apps inside of one executable. So with the old version, it was seeing it all as the same thing, but now it's detecting it by not only the executable, but the name of the window, a lot of other stuff too. But it helps make it more accurate. But another thing that kind of like that are emulators, but unfortunately most of them do not have just a simple way where I can grab a title of what's running. You can see I have PlayStation PSX2 running in the background there, and there's nothing in the title of these windows that indicates what the game is that it's actually running. So that took a little more doing. Let me switch over here. And you can see that now it's detecting it, and what it's doing is going to the game memory and getting the serial number of the loaded disk and running that serial number against a database to get the name. And with that name, it's reaching out to our new games API, which is Giant Bomb. Obviously, they are a lot more stable and probably more comprehensive. So it's good that we made that switch. It's working out great so far. So I can pull up another game here. RE4. There is a current bug where right now it's not detecting that I switched games here inside my application. What I actually have to do is jump out of it and then jump back over to the game. That's going to be fixed because I have to rewrite pretty much this entire detection to begin with, because when I first wrote it, I was only thinking that I was going to have to worry about the executable name and or the window title in order to determine what game it is. But now that I'm slapping on a lot more code for special scenarios, it's obvious that something more comprehensive is going to be needed. So this is going to get a rewrite. Right now it's just kind of a proof of concept thing, showing that I can reach out into emulators and run the game. So, and again, this artwork is coming from Giant Bomb. The quick description is coming from Giant Bomb. So that's where that API comes into play. Without it, we would still have some functionality, but it would be harder to down the road implement what one of the real goals of this is, and that's to create. Excuse me. There we go. And that is to create community profiles that can be shared amongst other people, and without some sort of central convention that locks the names of these games in place, it would make that almost impossible, because there would be too high of a possibility of misnamed games or duplicate named games, or just all that kind of stuff that comes into play when people are naming stuff themselves. So we wanted a database to actually lock this stuff in place and check it against. So that's why we needed that, and so far, like I said, Giant Bomb's API is working out great, so I can keep going forward. So other than that, the PCSX2 game detection looks like it's working.
James,
I have to rewrite it into the new code as soon as I rewrite this section.
After we got separated in that long hallway?
I also need to set it up so it can detect, not detect, but keep a running history of like the last 5 or 10 or whatever applications run. Because if you close out of something and go back to InputMapper, you don't want to lose that screen. You don't want to lose this screen here, because as you can see, it already switched over to Snagit, my video capture software. And I lost the ability to manipulate, add profiles or see stuff for the game that I had open, Silent Hill. So imagine I didn't have that running in the background still. It already closed out. If I wanted to go in and change something about Silent Hill, I'd have to relaunch the game. So I want to develop it so it has like a running history where I can select the last X number of games or whatever, go into that and do the same thing I would as if it were running right now. So that's just what I'm working on now. I'm gonna, now that that's working, like I said, I'm gonna rewrite it, and then I'm gonna also focus on a few of the more common emulators that were voted on. It looks like there was a Wii emulator that was voted pretty highly. There were a couple other ones, so I'm going to focus on those. Hopefully they aren't as difficult as the PCSX2 one was, but if they are, so be it. They're common, so I want to make sure I have support for them. So once I get that into place, the game detection, I'll link that to the profile selection, where the game running can actually switch the profile. That'll allow you to have different mappings for different games inside emulators. So that's about it. Pretty basic, low production quality check-in. I just wanted to throw something together, get it up, let you guys know where things stood right now. I don't know if I'm going to be putting some video up next week. It depends on how much I get done the next couple days. I do have a couple other things that I'm working on as well, so that's it for now. Guys, stay tuned, and I'll post any updates on the website. Have a good one.